So today we're talking about co-regulating with our younger nervous system. So that might be a little bit puzzling how we can shift time to do that. And yet that's how it works. So I wanted to just run through a couple things that we know about our nervous system. One is that children need safe, self-regulated adults in order to develop a healthy nervous system. And when we have that, we have a lot of neural networks, a lot of brain networks that develop for trust and connection. And a lot of this is skin to skin. Nervous system isn't a function of our cognitive higher level development of mind. It's a system in our body, in our gut. And the nervous system of a young child really develops through safety and connection. A lot of skin to skin contact. Attachment parenting has a lot to offer in this field as well. And of course, a lot of that is based on indigenous knowledge from millennia that has been lost in our modern life, where many doctors advised parents to let their children cry it out. It's created a lot of our attachment issues that we have right now and a lot of the lack of resilience in our nervous system. When my son was young, I had a poster called Children Learn What They Live. As I was looking at this. And there's a whole list of things. If they live with criticism, they learn to have an inner critic. If they live with, you can imagine all of the different components of that. So what we know for sure is that every parent is not perfectly attuned with their child. And that a lot of the research now is that you only need to actually be attuned about a third of the time. And the more that you can be, the better. You know, I wish now in a way that I could parent when I was 40 or 50 or even 60 compared to when I was 20 when I had my son. Because I just feel like I'm so much more healed. My nervous system is so much more regulated. So the truth is that parents, especially younger parents, are really growing up at the same time as they're parenting. Some of us have a lot of unhealed intergenerational trauma or our own traumas that are unhealed. So ideally, a parent is able to quickly come back to regulation when they lose their cool and offer a repair. So the repair could be partly in words, but a lot of it is in our presence. We hug someone, we look them in the eyes, they know that they're a good person. It's not that fundamental, I'm wrong, that we start to really believe if we don't have that repair. So obviously this kind of repair doesn't always happen, or it doesn't happen consistently enough. And as adults, one of the most important things we can do is to discover what was my experience as a child. What were the beliefs that I formed from those experiences? And in this particular practice, how can I go back and co-regulate with my nervous system from other times? So let's pause here for a moment before we go into the main part of the practice. So what were some of your experiences? And so here's some of the ones that are common, but yours in particular, you might want to hone in with a little bit more detail. So feeling like you were all alone, with no one to turn to. When we're not known, it feels like nobody cares about us. So if you have parents that maybe provided a safe physical environment like mine did, but had no idea who I was and didn't seem interested in getting to know me, I didn't feel like I had anywhere I could turn when something went wrong or when I was afraid or upset. So that's a component that most of us wouldn't think about as traumatic, but in fact it is. There's been a lot of research done on that in the last several years. So our experiences lead us to coping mechanisms. And these are related to fight, flight, freeze, fawn. We shut down, we rage, we disappear, we eat, we go to drugs and alcohol when we're older. And some kids just don't ever spend time alone at home. As much as they can, they're off at their friends' families, They kind of bond with an older neighbor, maybe who's kind. There's a lot of ways that we try to find connection. And if we can't get it at home, then we often look for it other places. So, what was your circumstance? What did you do? And notice the impact that that has. What does that feel like in your nervous system, in your body, your breath, thoughts in your mind as you're remembering what you felt like? And you might have some kind of happier memories of after you calmed yourself, or you might be able to go right back to the feeling of being alone, unprotected, hurt. And then see if you could drop below the level of thought and go into the way it feels in your body and your nervous system. Before we move on to the next page, though, we're going to just take a moment to check our own nervous system regulation right now. So notice your breath. Take a few deeper breaths. So this is a practice of being in two times at once, basically. We're remaining grounded, aware of our body. Look around the room. Notice the cues of safety. Is your physical body safe right now? Let your eyes see that. And you could look behind you, to each side. Take a couple of longer breaths. And as you're breathing out, you could use the longer 6-second exhalation. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, let your whole body relax. And we have a lot of different tools that we use. One of the simple ones, if you get really caught up in thought, or if you're starting to panic, start to tap on your forehead. Take your attention into the sound and sensation of the tapping on your forehead. Keep your eyes open for this one. That also helps us to stay in the present. So if you have a couple of soft pillows, a pillow and blanket, I have this beautiful soft blanket here. When I do the practice, I put this in behind me, and then I have this soft pillow in front of me. I can hug onto the pillow in front of me. So one of the things that's comforting about this is that the textures are soft. You could also do this hugging a dog. You could have your own hands on your heart. So let yourself really stay steady here and use your props, the pillows and blankets, to help yourself feel comforted. Ideally, we have one on the front and one on the back. Keep your eyes open and stay connected with your feet on the ground, your breath in your belly. Maintain your awareness in this moment in time. And now bring forward whatever memory that you're working with. Maybe there's a sense of an age. It might not be a particular recall memory. It might be more of a sense of when I was young, I often felt really agitated and like I was going to explode, or I really felt and freeze and kind of dull. Notice whatever comes, and we can do this practice over and over again. So we'll do it with one memory this time and another memory another time. So keep your eyes open and just quietly breathing. Attune or tune in to that younger self's nervous system. Let yourself relax into that. And as you begin to remember what it felt like at a certain age, there might be all kinds of things coming in. So there might be a flurry of activity for a bit. And that's okay. You can just let yourself settle a little, let the thoughts go by. Really tune into what did it feel like in your body at the time? What's your body memory of how you felt? And if you feel like it's not the right thing or the right thing now to sit quietly with a blanket and pillows, you might get up and do some shaking for a moment. Let your whole body shake. Shake out that itchiness or that restlessness, and then maybe it would feel okay to settle back in. We're really giving ourselves permission to notice and to do what feels helpful. Stay really present in your own body, your own present moment awareness, your own adult awareness. Notice your breath. You might imagine that you're sitting here comforted by a person. You can feel the warmth, the texture of the blanket, the pillows. You might visualize that, depending on if you have a visual mind or if you're more kind of sensing into that. What would it feel like if you were to just relax? Maybe your adult self is holding you in their arms. You're feeling supported, comforted. And with your eyes open, just quietly breathing, maintain this awareness. Let yourself co regulate your adult self now and the nervous system of yourself when you were younger. One thing that often happens as we breathe together is that our breath gets softer. You might notice that in your belly. And let yourself feel this connection. It's not a thought connection, it's a body connection, a nervous system. Let yourself feel it in your nervous system. And maintain awareness of what's happening. If you find that you're wandering off in your thoughts, that's natural. And it might be that you're trying to avoid feeling something. It might be that the mind just has those patterns. Just see if you could bring yourself back. There might be a visual of you holding or hugging your younger self, or there might not be. We're not looking for a particular experience. And if your nervous system right now is starting to get a little agitated or dysregulated, then let go of the practice for a moment and come back into regulation. How do you know that you're getting dysregulated? Is it restlessness in your body? Is it that your mind's wandering off? Are you starting to feel fear or anxiety, maybe in your gut? And come back, use your hands. You could hold your own hands. You could feel the texture of the pillows, blankets. Do some breathing. Inhale deeply, exhale 6 seconds or longer. If you're feeling really dysregulated, you could do some box breathing. Inhale to a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Use your awareness to stay present. Be kind. Come back into regulation in your adult body. And then come back to quietly breathing, keeping your eyes open, noticing this moment in time. And that your adult self right now is co-regulating with your younger nervous system. Let yourself feel if emotions are coming up, let them be here. Traumatic memory in particular doesn't have a time stamp the way regular memory does, so there might be memories coming up. And it's fine, absolutely fine to let them be here. Just let yourself stay stable and grounded and aware that in this moment, those things aren't happening. In this moment, you're safe in your room. You can see there's no danger here. And you're offering comfort and support as you stay steady and present and attuned with your younger nervous system. And from this steadiness, the awareness of this moment in time, your own regulated adult nervous system, we have the capacity and the resilience and the strength to really be here and co-regulate with our younger self. We just keep coming back to this simple regulation, emotionally, empathetically attuned, soothing, comforting. Even if you didn't have anyone to co-regulate safely with when you were that age, we do now. We can trust ourselves. Let yourself breathe, let yourself feel. Feel that connection. We're not thinking about connection, we're experiencing it directly. No thought, no expectations. Just this quiet presence. In a moment, we're going to come out of the practice. Before we do, run back through the practice in your mind. What was your experience? And see if you could not have an expectation or not compare yourself with some mythical perfect way to do this. There really isn't a perfect way to do this. Did you feel connected? Was it relatively easy? Did you find that you were coming out of connection a lot? What was going on? Was it hard to feel into your experience in your younger nervous system? If there is fear, hurt, distress, that can be quite hard for us to stay with it. So we might have to really keep coming back into regulation and then just have little moments of the connection, and then we might lose that again and then come back. It's a lot of different experiences that might have happened. And notice as well if there were times when you did feel attuned and connected, where you could just kind of sense into that on a felt sense, that I could feel not as alone. I could feel my nervous system calming down, becoming more regulated. And notice how easy or difficult it was to come back into regulation now, in this moment with your adult self. Were you able to stay regulated? Was that relatively easy? Did you find yourself having to come back into regulation a lot? It's very common, as is disconnecting. Sometimes we just kind of disconnect and don't really pay attention for a bit. You really tune in for a moment to the positive, to the moments when you could connect, when you could feel yourself getting to a state of being soothed or more regulated. Notice what that feels like in your body right now. And notice if this is something that you feel interested in coming back to. Is this a practice that you could do every day for a while or several times a week? Is there a resonance here? And then, as long as you like, you can continue to sit with your pillows and blanket before you finish the practice.